The Flash is a student forum created by students for students.
All students make and create all content decisions, research, write, film, and broadcast stories they deem important to the Eastview community.
Hey Eastview, did you know that February is the shortest month of the year?
And it is Black History Month.
Black History Month falls on the shortest month of the year? Huh, funny how that works.
Isn't it? Black History Month focuses on the triumphs and struggles of African Americans throughout U.S. history. Crazy how that's only 28 days. Deserves way more.
Agreed. Today's episode may be a bit controversial, but we still feel as if it's important. Both stories will highlight the Black community. Our first story focuses on educating ourselves and working together to create a better future. What steps can we take to educate our community about Black history and racial inequity in general? This is a question that's been sitting in the back of my mind for years now. As I sit and reflect on the world we live in and see the clear lack of knowledge, the question has moved to front and center. I had the privilege of speaking to Dr. Philip Schultz, and he broke it down into 3 steps. While these steps aren't going to cure racism, they are putting us in the right direction.
I think the first thing we have to do is to recognize that Black history is our history. You know, it's a shared history.
Black history is our history. When he says our, he doesn't just mean history for Black people. He means history for all of us. It is a part of American history and it can't be forgotten. If we aren't constantly learning about it, history will repeat itself. While the videos and photos we're shown in school might make us feel uncomfortable, it has to. We have to feel that uncomfortableness to be able to make sure we don't repeat history. It might feel like we're way ahead of where we were in the past, but that's not the case. Some of our very own Eastview students have experienced extreme cases of racism recently.
This guy called me a theater monkey, which is crazy because he wasn't Black, so it wasn't funny, and we're not friends, and he said it. He tried to throw it off as like, I called you a monkey because like theater people are crazy or whatever, which, sure, but it just kind of sucked because he also was dating a friend of mine and she didn't really do anything about it either.
Me and Ruhan were hanging out and we were invited to our friend's house that had some fellow Eastview athletes there. And as we were walking up the driveway in sync, we sounded like everyone in the house saying the N-word. And I feel like little to nothing has been done with this situation.
One of my friends pulled out a towel as a hijab and started mocking me. And I felt very offended because of the use of the towel, not even like, yeah, you can go ahead and mock me, but that was just so out of pocket.
These acts were made by other Eastview students, uneducated Eastview students. It seems like we aren't as far ahead as we thought. But that's the funny thing about history. It's constantly being made and it's constantly changing. If we want to be better, we need to educate ourselves. The choices and decisions we make now aren't only a part of our history, but they're part of American history.
Number 2, I think we have to do a better job of helping people to connect to not only figures, you know, in history, but also in present day who are doing things that we just don't think about.
In 1853, George Speck invented potato chips. In 1872, Thomas Elkins invented the modern toilet. In 1889, John Purdy invented folding chairs. In 1891, Philip Downing invented the mailbox. In 1892, George T. Sampson invented the clothes dryer. In 1922, George Morgan invented the traffic light. And in 1935, Frederick Jones invented the thermostat.
The third thing is this sense of, and it's hard to say, but bringing people together for dialogue. I mean, I just think people have to be comfortable talking to those who don't look like them, who have different experiences from them. Because until that happens, we just won't achieve that community that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about.
The third and final step is coming together, talking about our differences, embracing one another, laughing together, making memories, loving each other, collaborating, doing what we're passionate about, listening to each other, and figuring out how we can be better, how we can change history. Signing off from The Flash, with the help of Damien, this is Naya.
Our second and final story will take time to focus on the cultural differences of people who are Black, who also are from the continent of Africa. Black History Month was created so we can celebrate the successes of Black people within America. But a lot of different African people don't really identify with a lot of different Black people in America, and it's shown that Black History Month hasn't really celebrated the successes of people who migrated here from Africa. The main goal of Black History Month is simple: to highlight and emphasize our history. But we should also treat it as an opportunity for Africans or other Black ethnic groups to educate others about their culture.
I really like the food and like this food we eat and all that, and the functions that we go to with all the other Sudanese people.
The food that we eat, the culture that we express when I go to Sunday school on the weekends.
Something I like about my culture is the way that we dress and the food that we eat.
With different food, music, beauty standards, rituals, religion, traditions, and holidays, people around the globe should visit this continent at least once in their lifetime. Our tightly knit communities help represent and allow us to express our cultures in an educational environment.
Yes, I do definitely feel disrepresented at Eastview because when I came here, I thought like I wasn't gonna find my people. And now that I came here, I was like, wow, there's a bunch of Somali people here, and I feel like I found my family. Like, this is where I'm from.
I feel represented, definitely.
Representation of Africans within our community here in Eastview is very important to create a healthy, diverse community at this school. The East African Club, for starters, along with the Muslim Student Association, Black Student Union, Black Honors Association, and Diversity Club all work to educate our community about our cultural differences, further unifying our entire student body.
So East African Club is where we have groups of East Africans come together and we try to learn and embrace our culture.
We educate, celebrate, and study each other's cultures through games, slideshows, cahoots, like shows and tell.
They should join the East African Club because you get to learn about your culture more. And for me personally, both of my parents are from Ethiopia and I was born and raised here, so I'm not as rooted into the culture as they are. And so I think coming to East African Club, you can be more rooted in your culture, especially during culture night. You can embrace that culture and showcase it.
In order to truly educate our community about different cultures, all parties involved have to take the extra mile to go ahead and learn. Culture Night is an example of a fun event where we can also take the time to educate our community.
I would say Culture Night's a night where everybody comes together and they showcase their dances, their foods, their cultures to everybody, and we all come together and try to educate ourselves in one night.
Culture Night is going to be held here at Eastview on Saturday, May 6th. If you're interested in showcasing your African culture, feel free to scan this QR code on the screen or talk to Dr. Franchino, Ms. Hanson, or Mr. Miller. For those with questions about East African Club, please feel free to ask Michael Kidane, Caleb Teshoma, Leah Tesfaye, or Viviana Tesfaye. Signing off for The Flash, with help from Naya, Abdi, and Elias, this is Damien. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch and listen to our very special episode of The Flash.
We hope that you don't just forget about what we said, but you remember it and use it in your everyday lives.